It's Monday, March 8th, and this is now on HNN.
So let's be very specific about this.
Fully vaccinated people can now gather without masks. That's according to the CDC's new guidelines just out today.
It's frustrating.
Puzzled Oahu residents want to know why a 150-seat luau is allowed, but weddings are limited to 10.
The last time we had a downturn, we didn't provide enough stimulus, and it took 5 years to recover.
And we talked to Senator Schatz about what people can expect from the new COVID relief package.
My family literally cut me off financially.
Prince Harry and Meghan tell all in a high-stakes interview. I'm Ian Lee with explosive claims about life inside Britain's royal family.
These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
We begin with this breaking news. The State Department of Health says a case of COVID with the so-called South African mutation has been detected in an Oahu adult with no history of travel. So this is the first such infection in the state. Nationally, at least 80 cases have been confirmed, according to the CDC.
And those close contacts of that case are in quarantine and being tested. The other two B117 variant cases are in Oahu residents, one of whom traveled to the U.S. mainland, and a household contact of that individual who developed symptoms a few days after their exposure to that individual.
Now, this discovery is concerning to officials because the B1351 variant is known to be more transmissible. We're told it also contains a mutation that could make it less responsive to antibodies, formed naturally by someone who has had COVID or by a vaccine. Now, officials stress, while this discovery underscores the need for vigilance, vaccines still appear to offer good protection against the mutation. We've written all this up and have much more details available for you to read right now on our HNN digital platforms.
Hey everyone, good afternoon and thank you so much for watching. This is Now. Ashley and Jonathan here. Let's get you those latest coronavirus numbers. The State Health Department is reporting 45 new cases and no new fatalities. The breakdown by island shows 10 cases on the Big Island, 11 on Maui, 21 on Oahu, and 3 residents were diagnosed out of state. Meanwhile, the CDC released new guidelines for fully vaccinated Americans. Now, these are recommendations, and it's up to the states to determine what they're going to do with them. Mandy Gaither has the latest.
For the first time, there are recommendations for fully vaccinated Americans.
When I say fully vaccinated, I mean people who are 2 weeks after their second dose of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines, or 2 weeks after a single dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
The CDC recommends those who are fully vaccinated can visit other fully vaccinated people in small gatherings indoors without masks or social distancing. And the agency says fully vaccinated people can also visit with unvaccinated people from a single family without masks or social distancing if those they're meeting are not at high risk for severe illness from COVID-19.
When fully vaccinated people are visiting with unvaccinated people from multiple households, everyone should wear masks and physically distance and meet outdoors in a well-ventilated space.
If a fully vaccinated person is exposed to COVID-19, the CDC says there's no need for that person to quarantine as long as they're asymptomatic. The agency says it's not changing its guidance on travel and continues to advise against it, stressing that there are still high levels of virus around the country and highly contagious variants have now been confirmed in nearly every state.
While we work to quickly vaccinate people more and more each day, we have to see this through. Let's stick together. Please keep wearing a well-fitting mask and taking the other public health actions we know work to help stop the spread of this virus.
I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
Keep in mind, scientists are still trying to figure out how long vaccine protection lasts. We asked Lieutenant Governor Dr. Josh Green about the new CDC guidelines today. Here's what he had to say just a short time ago.
Real clear line. Vaccination is safe. It's the standard of care to be safe to prevent spread. And so people who are in vaccination bubbles, essentially, you're vaccinated, you're with other people who are vaccinated, the risk drops way down. And this will lead to a lot of other policy benefits, like it will be safe to travel if you can demonstrate you're vaccinated. It will be safe to attend larger gatherings if you can demonstrate that you're vaccinated, provided that the others around you are also vaccinated.
So we learned today that the Department of Health is not expecting any Johnson & Johnson vaccine this week. Hawaii did receive nearly 12,000 doses last week, and the state did tell us more J&J doses are expected in the weeks to come. We're told more than 62,000 doses of Pfizer and Moderna are headed to Hawaii this week, so that number does not include the amount of vaccines that the military receives. This all comes as residents 70 and up become eligible to receive the shot. Sammy Salina has that side of the story.
We're at Adventist Health Castle, where this clinic, along with the rest of the state, will be opening up the vaccine to those 70 and up. And they're trying to make the process easy for folks. You're going to have to fill out all of your forms, bring in your health insurance, a copy of that, and your license or ID. And they're trying to make it as easy as possible to be able to come in and get your shot. But you have to sign up first. If you fall into that category, you can sign up online with any of the major healthcare providers in the state. Some of those providers told me last week that their clinics were actually slowing down because so many kupunas 75 and up were done with their second dose. But AARP says there's still a lot more folks in that category who need the shot. You can also head to cvs.com to sign up to get a shot at a Long's location. The Lieutenant Governor, Josh Green, says this expansion makes the vaccine available to another 60,000 Hawaii residents. Clinics are happy to welcome more folks in. Overall, what can folks do if they need extra help and figuring out the system and how to sign up?
Yeah, so from what we've seen, we have such a great community where we have family members and neighbors that have been helping those that have some extra challenges with navigating our website. So we do encourage checking with your friends and family first for some help. If not, we do have a phone line available. It's 808-263-5002. However, we do kindly ask for patience as we do have an increased volume of calls these days for the vaccine.
Even though the state is vaccinating people 70 and older, we're still not quite in phase 1C. That is one of the largest phases of about 500,000 Hawaii residents. However, the DOH says it expects to begin 1C in the next few weeks. That will likely start with those 65 and up and those with high-risk medical conditions. Back to you in the studio.
Senator Brian Schatz joined us today on Sunrise to talk about the COVID relief bill and how it will impact all of us.
Well, this is the second biggest relief package in American history. I was up for 37 hours. We were on the floor of the Senate for 26 hours. And it's going to be money for vaccines, money for the states, for the state and the counties to prevent layoffs and furloughs, cash assistance, $1,400, extended unemployment insurance benefits, and actually a big increase in the child tax credit to $3,000. So lots of working families, and especially the working poor, are going to see a lot of cash relief to get through this crisis.
Not to get too into the numbers, but were there some changes in the cap on getting the stimulus check itself?
Yeah, minor changes, but most of the people who got the checks or the transfer payments last time will get it again. And we're going to work with the Department of the Treasury this week to try to get clarity on when money is going to hit bank accounts. I understand, that's an urgent matter for a lot of people who want to be able to buy groceries, make rent, pay for utilities. They need to know when the money's coming.
This will also fund a lot of local municipalities, including the state, right?
Yeah, and the shortfall that the state was facing was around $1 billion. The amount of money that's coming in is in excess of that. And last time when we provided resources to the state, it was only an allowable use to be COVID response. And now specifically, we're allowing this money to be used to plug a budget hole. And so we don't think that the state government or the county government is going to have to entertain furloughs or layoffs. This is enough to plug the budget hole, at least over the next 1 to 2 years.
People are taking to the air again. New numbers from TSA show almost 1.3 million people passed through airport security checkpoints on Sunday. That's the highest level since January 3rd. It is typical for air travel to pick up in March as students across the country go on spring break. Analysts believe more people may feel comfortable flying as they get vaccinated for COVID. The major airlines are cautiously optimistic that the industry may be starting to recover. A recent event is raising questions on what should and shouldn't be allowed in Tier 3. Friday's luau at the Hilton Hawaiian Village has some event planners saying the rules are unfair. Jolani Martinez has more.
Some people question how an indoor luau at Hilton Hawaiian Village with 150 guests is allowed, but events like weddings are still limited to groups of up to 10 people. The Hilton's Starlight Luau is usually held outdoors, but because of the weather, it was moved to one of their ballrooms Friday. Based on the tier system, the Hilton's Starlight Luau was in compliance with city rules. The event fell into the category of designated business or operation, restaurant, or commercial attraction. But the rules are stirring confusion. One man we spoke with who wants to remain anonymous had to postpone his wedding to June. He's now asking for clarity on the guidelines since weddings currently fall into the social gathering category.
It's frustrating because when you have a wedding, of course you have a lot of vendors, you have a lot of people that's added into this, and to reschedule it or to move it to a later date, it's hard to get 15 to 20 vendors to all agree to the same date. Oh, I think for sure weddings are in a definite gray area, especially for outdoor venues, because, yeah, it's a gathering. So what difference is a wedding gathering versus a luau? What is the difference? That's what the state needs to clarify, is what difference is a wedding, a gathering, or a luau? It's all the same.
Tier system guidelines related to health and safety require approval from the state. We reached out to the Department of Health for an explanation on this logic behind this portion of the tier system. DOH released a statement saying only, quote, a gathering of 150 people eating indoors is a bad idea. We reached out to the mayor, who says he plans to meet with DOH for clarification on this matter. Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
Happening today, public schools across the state can begin practice for team sports. We talked to the executive director of the High School Athletic Association about this today on Sunrise.
Practice, as we mentioned, can start today for schools that meet the standards. When do you reasonably think we could get to games and competition?
I think that depends on which island you're on. So some islands, the county parks and facilities have been open from the very beginning. So those can probably start up a little sooner. The ones over here, the athletes have been, especially the public school athletes, haven't really been conditioning since the very beginning. So they're going to need at least a couple, maybe 2 to 3, maybe even 4 weeks to get acclimated and get trained before that they can look at starting.
Now, we don't have a lot of time, though, Chris. Just a couple of months. How many sports could we see competing by the end of the school year?
I think between 5 to 6, hopefully. I guess it just depends on where the island is and what the leagues feel comfortable. So from what I saw in the DOE memo, it's going to be up to each individual league on each individual island and what requirements they have and what the leagues feel is safe to play in that part. So I guess it's just going to depend on up to each league on what they feel safe and what they feel comfortable in running.
Well, what are you hearing for Oahu? And not to alienate the other islands, but we do have the bulk of the student athletes here.
So I know, like, in the private school league on Oahu, that they pretty much approved every sport except for judo. I think it was water polo and the other high-risk sports. But I think they have like 5 to 6 low-risk sports that they're low and moderate-risk sports that they're planning on running. For the OIA, I think it's going to be up to whatever they approve. I don't think they've actually gone through that process yet.
Okay.
Most of their schools actually, I do not think that they can actually start today because they don't meet the criteria. I believe only 1/3 or about a quarter have actually been in-person learning or at that blended model. So I think only a select lucky few actually get to start working out and conditioning today.
H&N sources say the victim of a deadly road rage incident appears to have been stabbed after a fight on the H1 freeway. It happened early Sunday around 3 a.m. near the Kunia Road off-ramp. A police report says the victim in his 50s was found unconscious in his car. The suspect reportedly took off in a silver or gray car. Our reporters are working on this story and will bring you more information as it comes in. Jury selection is delayed in the trial of a former Minneapolis police officer charged in the death of George Floyd. Images of the officer with his knee on Floyd's neck last year set off a racial justice reckoning across the U.S. Michael George has more.
Unless any of the parties object, I'm going to kick our jurors loose.
The weeks-long process of picking jurors in the trial of Derek Chauvin is pushed off until at least Tuesday.
We remain concerned about the court proceeding with matters.
The court is first dealing with an appeal over the possible reinstatement of a third-degree murder charge against the former Minneapolis police officer. Chauvin is already facing charges of second-degree murder and manslaughter after pressing his knee into George Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes, holding the position even after he went limp. Hundreds of peaceful protesters have taken to the streets, and separating them in the courthouse, barricades, barbed wire, and the National Guard. The death of an unarmed black man at the hands of police sparked protests across the world over officer brutality and race relations. Are you hopeful that justice will be served?
I'm skeptical just because, history shows, but, I'm going to try my best to show support and hopefully they'll do the right thing. I'm hoping for the best, but I don't know if I have enough confidence.
Potential jurors answered questionnaires to determine how much they knew about the case and their opinions about protests. They'll be interviewed individually, and the judge, defense attorney, and prosecutor will all get to ask questions. Once selected, the jury will be escorted to the court and sequestered during deliberations. Opening arguments are slated for March 29th. Michael George, CBS News, Minneapolis.
We have a live video feed coming into the H&N Digital Center. We're monitoring some severe weather out there. This is coming from the Valley Isle, which is under a flash flood warning until 2:15. This is Paia there on the Valley Isle. This is a system that we're monitoring very closely. I'm going to take you now over to here at the harbor in downtown. Not looking as gloomy over here, but let's see what's causing all this. Here's Guy Hoggy with an update of those conditions outside.
Aloha. On this Monday, the National Weather Service has posted a flash flood watch for the entire state. It's going to run until Wednesday morning. Might even be extended beyond that. Now, a flash flood watch means that flooding conditions are possible with heavy rain and thunderstorms that could trigger flooding. So if you live in an area that is flooded before, take precautions. Now, this morning, most of the rain has favored the east sides of Maui and the Big Island, and Oahu's had some downpours as well. And look at all those thunderstorms firing up out over the ocean, moving up towards the island. So heads up out there. We are in for a very wet day. Some areas will get more rain than others, obviously, but if you plan for rain, you'll be on the safe side because it's going to be dangerous out there to some extent. And if you have outdoor activities, put them off for a while, especially hiking. Not a good idea. And as far as the ocean, well, with all the heavy rain, we could get some brown water out there. Not a good day to be out in the ocean. Plus, it's going to be choppy. Granted, we have a fair bit of energy for northwest and east shores, and box jellyfish will be swimming into south shores. But all in all, because of the stormy weather, not a good day to be out in the ocean. Not a good day to be outside either. We've got these heavy showers, heavy downpours, spotty thunderstorms, cloudy skies, and cool temperatures through Tuesday. Wednesday, they should be easing up a little bit. The wind will be easing up on Wednesday and Thursday as well. And then stronger trade winds due in just before the weekend. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Everyone's talking about Oprah's bombshell interview with Prince Harry and Meghan that aired last night. CBS's Ian Lee has much more.
I had 3 conversations with my grandmother.
Television queen Oprah Winfrey spent 2 hours digging into why Prince Harry and Meghan left royal life for a new life in the U.S.
Did you blindside the Queen?
No. I've never blindsided my grandmother. I have too much respect for her.
Did you leave the country because of racism?
It was a large part of it.
The couple says Meghan's mixed race was a worry for some British royals when she became pregnant.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
Harry and Meghan blamed tabloids for spreading lies and the monarchy for not refuting them.
Did you make Kate cry?
No. The reverse happened.
Meghan says the palace promised to protect her, but left her open to a painful character assassination.
I would sit up at night and I was just like, I don't understand how all of this is being churned out. And I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
So were you thinking of harming yourself? Were you having suicidal thoughts?
Yes. This was very, very clear.
Harry says more hurt came when they officially stepped away as senior royals.
My family literally cut me off financially, and I had to afford security for us. I've got what my mum left me, and without that, we would not have been able to do this. I can go for walks with
As Meghan and Harry pulled back the curtain on their new life in California, they had a surprise.
It's a girl.
Revealing Archie will have a little sister this summer, an uplifting moment in the midst of a royal family feud. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
So Oprah was on CBS this morning with Gayle King, and she revealed a little bit more about the interview. And you know those comments that Meghan was mentioning about race and her expected child? Oprah said those comments, she was able to dig a little bit with them, and the couple told her those comments did not come from Prince Philip or the Queen herself.
Interesting.
They didn't say who, but they said not from them. All right, let's see what else the internet is talking about today.
So Bruno Mars, he's petitioning to perform at Sunday's Grammy Awards. Now, the singer took to Twitter to ask the Recording Academy to add his new band to the list of performers. Now, Mars recently formed Silk Sonic with Anderson .Paak. Their debut single, Leave the Door Open, premiered last week, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's really cool. So Mars told the Recording Academy they would follow all safety protocols if allowed to perform, and it might be surprising to some that Mars actually has to beg, since his last album, 24 Karat Magic, earned him several Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. No comment yet from the Recording Academy. Artists who are set to perform include Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, and John Mayer.
I can't believe I haven't heard the hit yet, the new song.
Really, a lot of swag.
All right, guys, Tom Brady is making history today. His rookie card just sold for $1.3 million, making it the costliest trading card in the history of football. It's an autographed 2000 playoff contender championship ticket card. The online auction house that brokered the deal said it's one of only 100 of its kind in the world. Guess who bought it? Fitbit CEO and co-founder James Park.
Must be a big fan.
Yeah, I think he's from Boston.
Yeah. Time for some good news. Hours at the Honolulu Zoo are expanding today. It's back to operating 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's good timing because there are some new animals to see. This is Raphael, Leo, and Mikey. They're now on exhibit. The Meerkat brothers are just completing their 120-day quarantine period, and any good 90s kid will recognize they're named after the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Of course, one of my faves. Yeah.
And also, speaking about the zoo, a baby sloth was born over the weekend. Now, Harriet, a 7-year-old southern two-toed sloth, is the proud mom. The baby will stay with her for the next 9 to 12 months. No word yet on the name.
Yeah, I was wondering what Harriet. You said Harriet's
the mom.
Baby still needs a name.
Baby needs
a
name.
I love when they host those contests and such.
Yeah, she gave birth on a live cam stream yesterday. I was hooked on it.
Whoa! So you didn't watch the Meghan interview, but you watched the zoo birth. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now on this Monday. We're going to be with you all week long here on KHNL and all your H&N digital platforms. Have a good week.